Got some big moves coming up on the free to pause account. Hello everyone, Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free to pause account because it's been an interesting fusion. I've gotten a couple of really good champions. I've got a couple of kind of okay or meh champions, but we have been grinding away at making progress on the account, and there's been some pretty transformative things that have happened. I've done videos on a few of them. I talked about them, in fact, in yesterday's video, where I pulled myself a Brogni, who's one of the things we are going to talk about. But there's a lot of things going on, and sometimes I think it's good to just kind of check in and let you guys know where the account is at, what I am looking at to continue to make improvements, and where we're going from here. So first of all, I always like to check in Faction Wars. As you can see here, I have actually, we count them all, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 factions completely done, as well as an 8th faction where I got 61 here. Now, Bannerlords was one I was struggling with on level 14, and I cleaned that up recently. Just basically I got the champions far enough along to not die instantly against that boss, because that is the instant kill and stun boss, and so I just needed to kind of control that a little bit. For the dwarves, I ran this a couple times. Brogni certainly helped a ton. The ability to put up block debuffs was great, and apparently I'd gotten fast enough where I could use Tholen to smack the boss, and then Geomancer took the next turn and was able to drain all of the turn meter, which let me basically set up a bunch of stuff to be able to accept his big hit and not actually be stunned in the first place, get some heals out, get some shields up, and that worked particularly well. Certainly not the easiest boss to deal with without a reviver or healer, but we managed to get it done. And Brogni, even at a low level he's only a 5-star. He was only like level 35 or 36 at the time. So that was super helpful. Barbarians is certainly going to crank into gear with Syl. Shadowkin I'm certainly working on. I've got a couple of champions I really need to make 5-star at the bare minimum to see if we can get through things. And honestly, I may need to invest in a second Taragi to get through this if I don't have a reviver, or maybe I just need my damage dealers to be so much better that it's not an issue. We'll see. We're going to play with some stuff, and that's kind of the point of this, is you work with what you get. Orcs, I've got Zargala built, and that's going to help quite a bit with the double revivers and the healer and Zargala and Gallic. I think that should be just enough, and I think Zargala just needs to be 5 stars and I'll be good to go. That said, Zargala is a decent damage dealer, and I've got about a week to deal with this one, so I'm not in a huge rush for Zargala, although she will be important for the account. Oghren has certainly got significantly better with Bellower, and as I continue to grow Bellower, he will get 6-starred at some point in time because he's just that good. That will certainly help with my Oghren tribe, and it might be time to finally dive in and build a second Ugo, partially for Hydra, but partially for the Oghren Tripped Here stuff as well. Demon Spawn, Allure is going to help a ton. We'll certainly work on that. Skinwalkers, it's probably just a matter of investing in a couple champions to make them less squishy against the boss, and then make sure that my reviver is super tanky so that he doesn't die against the boss possibly as well. And then finally, Lizardmen, it's just, again, building up some champions. I got plenty of champions that are doing okay at 4-star, but they're going to need to at least be 5-star. It is really hard to bring a 4-star champion in Faction Wars and get through stage 21. I did actually manage to do it on one of these here. I think it was High Elves. No, Sacred Order. I did it on Sacred Order, but my Alice with a 5-star blessing was such a huge carry in this faction. It was mostly just making sure that my reviver was able to keep people alive, and the one person who did die got revived, and I was good to go. Hydra has certainly been a bit of an interesting mix on this account. Now, I have run a couple of different teams against Hydra hard, and I now have not only one team that, with a couple of changes can still one-key hard Hydra pretty reliably, but I might have a second team that can get darn close to one-keying hard Hydra as well. And what that gives me is a little bit of breathing room to be able to, as long as I can one-key normal with a third team, if I don't one-key hard with first team, I can go back and clean it up on the second team. But it also means I can possibly poke my head into Brutal and just see what I can do. Because Brutal, if I can get this low level chest right here, even this one here, it's the fact that these are both warrior chests is still kind of insane. But they'll get either one of these warrior chests, well, that's the same thing as getting the second highest chest here on hard, and the lowest chest here, or the highest chest there on normal. So if I can do top key and any key, well, That's an improvement on the account. That's suddenly 2 extra chests I wasn't getting before, and that's extra soul stones, that's extra protection set, that's extra stone skin, and that's going to be huge for the account as well. So we are making some Hydra progress as well, which has been pretty good. Part of why I've been focused on 6-star champions, part of why I've been focused on specific champions I know will be good in lots of different content, because generally Hydra is one of these places where champions that are good in multiple other places are also good in Hydra, because they bring a lot of different things, and having a flexible team that does a bunch of different things and champions that do multiple roles is one of the keys to improving your Hydra scores. As you can see here, I'm doing about 30 million on Spirit. Sometimes I can do as much as what might have been a 2-key on Spirit. It's the best clan boss for me. Magic is okay, but with Spirit I have the advantage of having a bunch of magic champions against the Spirit, so I get a lot of weak hits, so they tend to live a little bit longer. I don't get the slow out quite as much as well, so there's that as well. Plus, since not everyone is actually crit capped, those strong hits do actually add some additional damage. But I am hoping to slot Brogni in right here for Tagore. Now, I don't know how well that's going to work, because Tagore, as you can see, has a 5-star blessing, so that's certainly going to be some extra stats that Brogni is going to need to make up in some way, shape, or form. But Brogni brings me the block debuffs, and he will bring me the reflect damage on a shield. Plus we have the Taragi here that also throws shields up as well. So Brogni is going to prove to be a very flexible champion going into this, that hopefully, while I won't have the reviver that I have with Tagore, so I won't be able to recover when things get really bad, at least with Brogni I will have the shields that will add additional healing a little more consistently. Plus with the block debuffs, I'll have less worry about the stun, less worry about the decreased speed, less worry about decreased attack, less worry about poisons, all the debuffs that the boss can throw at you. And Brogni will bring maybe a little bit more damage than Tagore will, because he'll certainly be built for a little more damage than Tagore is. Now I'll lose a little bit of the increased speed as well, so again, we're going to try things and see, but I think that Tagore is the most natural slot to slot in here, although I could certainly see maybe I could put him in instead of Tyrant. While I will lose the second ally protector, which means I won't have ally protect up quite as much, the shield and the shield healing may make up for that in some level, and then Tagore will still have the increased speed and the revive, plus Tagore also brings a shield. So I will have 3 different shielders up to have shield up almost all the time, which means I should be able to mitigate damage very well as increase the amount of damage output once I get Brogni built. That said, Brogni cannot go in this team until I 6-star him and get his top level mastery, because he needs Giant Slayer to do all the extra damage with that reflection. Iron Twins is actually something I am looking forward to pushing forward. Syl will help me quite a bit, because right now Tagore, actually with putting up his blessings and his boost, can actually cause a problem with the boss, because the boss can boost his turn meter with those, and if he doesn't have decreased speed. So Syl will give me more healing, Syl will give me an opportunity to put decreased speed, which means the buffs. If buffs get on my champions, he won't get the speed increase if he's got decreased speed, which will slow him down a little bit as well. I'm actually hoping that with Syl, and honestly now with Brogni, because I might figure if I can fit Brogni into the team as well, I can possibly push myself up to stage 15 here. And that will be very helpful as well, because I farm this daily. It has definitely been well worth it. The souls have been huge, but getting up to stage 15 where I can get the top level coin, I can get more of the mid-level coin, and more of just the regular coin as well for just 2 extra energy. That's a very, very effective. Plus we get some of these extra things here. I get a chance to get 4 of these stones. Those are great. Those are just nice to have all around on the account anyway, so I can't complain too much. Meanwhile, for the regular dungeons, Ice Golem's been pretty steady at stage 20. I can certainly do stage 25, but stage 20 works very, very well. Dragons, I've actually managed to push up to hard 10. I actually did a video on that to help you guys, and I think that will get even better with Syl, because Syl, again, replacing Tagore, will make it a little more consistent, and while I lose out on the increased speed, I will get additional healing, and I will get a more controllable revive with her instead of with Tagore. And who knows, maybe Brogni might make an appearance there as well. With Mithrala and Brogni together, I will have shields up almost all the time, which will be very helpful. We'll get some of that extra reflect damage, which can be very good. And honestly, one of the ways that you can prevent being poisoned is block debuffs. So if I can't get poisoned because Brogni's bringing block debuffs in the first place, well, that's not the worst problem that I could have. So that'll be very helpful as well. Meanwhile, Fire Knight, my Fire Knight team is going to get better with Syl, so I'm definitely excited about that. And, hey, I mean, it seems like maybe I've covered some of this before, because I was super excited about Syl Syl, but I really think it is exciting to have both Syl here as well, who I've got kind of built out, and, Brogni, who I've got kind of built out a bit as well. In fact, if you want to see my Brogni build right now, I've got 4-piece Impulse on him, so he has a 24% chance of reducing the random skill cooldowns and a bunch of extra speed, and I've got some Immortal on him to keep him healed up, and I've got some Pinpoint on him to get that extra 10% speed. You notice I didn't put a lot of accuracy on him because I know I was going to pair him with Geomancer a lot to start with, and I don't want him overriding the burns whenever possible off of that A1. Now I still need to book him and book Syl, and I think the decision is probably going to be Brogni gets the books before Syl. It's a tough decision because Syl is just so good, but I think Syl will continue to be useful even without the books because, this is a 4-turn cooldown instead of 3. It's not a huge chance of stun, but it's a 20% twice. So, you've got maybe a 30% chance of stun. It's not great, but this will get it up to a 50 or 60% chance most likely. And that's certainly a lot better. The revive could be better on a 4-turn cooldown versus a 6, but the idea is maybe I don't need the revive as often with her on the team. And then, yes, this definitely needs the books as well. So she definitely is going to need the books, but she is usable without them because this passive is so strong. Whereas Brogni really needs this on a 3-turn cooldown to get those shields out regularly, get that block debuffs. Fortunately, this is only 2 books. And then this being on a 4-turn cooldown, as well as having 100% chance to do some of these buff and debuff cleanses, very, very impactful. The good news is with Brogni is this is 5 books. This is 2 books, and as long as I don't get any more books in the A1, I don't really care for the time being if Brogni is fully booked. I just need these A2 and these A3 books. So we hope that I get lucky with books, and then I can start throwing books in Syl, who is going to want them everywhere. I've also got Xavia here. You'll notice I haven't done anything with Xavia other than I've been leveling her up in, occasionally been throwing her in and out of the Guardian Ring, and she's been very helpful. Well, not very helpful here. She's been helpful for champion training, but that's not really the point. She doesn't need books though. This skill here doesn't have any cooldown reduction, so this is extra damage. Extra damage is great on a damage dealer, don't get me wrong, but the exploding poisons is the big deal with this particular one. So this not being a major deal to book, not a huge problem. This one here, I don't have any cooldown reduction. This is already on a 3-turn cooldown. What booking this does is gives you another 25% chance of placing poison. So this goes from a 50% on each hit to a 75% chance. So basically you get, instead of effectively getting 1 poison on average every basically 1 to 2 poisons on this one on average, closer about a 50% of the time, you're going to get closer to 1.5 to 2 most of the time with that booked up, especially if you put Sniper on her as well, which is worth it as well. And then this one doesn't get anything other than extra damage. So Xavia is actually really good without having to build up. It's just a matter of I only have so many resources, I only have so much silver, so I haven't been able to build her up yet. And then finally, Shemnath probably is going to get moved into the vault at the moment. That's not to say Shemnath is not good. She's an interesting damage dealer with some additional stuff. The problem is she does require the books. I mean, this one can work okay without books. I guess these all work okay without books. They just are on long cooldowns, and that doesn't need any books at all. But it's a lot of extra investment for her, and to be fair, she doesn't do anything that's so exciting for me that I need to go grab her versus, say, when I was excited to build Nithrala or Arbiter, or even Quintus, who still hasn't been booked for a while, or the Monkey, who has had 1 book in him that I even kind of regret just because I could use that book somewhere else. Not to say Sun Wukong is not worth booking. He is worth booking. He just has not been worth booking on this account compared to other legendaries that I've had on this account. So Arena has been fun. I have made Live Arena Gold 4, and I've done okay for myself for a while. In fact, if you look at this here, my I was at Gold 4, got me when I got to 4,800 points. I'm at 5,010. So I've been at Gold 4 for some time, and it's been fine. It's not great. We go look at the battle log here. You can see, like I beat this team here. This team here I struggled with because they were just faster than I was. But here, victory, 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 victory. And some of these teams are actually kind of scary looking. This is a Siphi, an Ultimate Gallic, and a Necret here. This one was close too, by the way. This was actually not an easy fight for me, but we managed to get it done. But yes, and sometimes I'm just getting absolutely mauled. Here's a He-Man fight here. here. What you don't see are some of the times I am fighting mythicals, and that's definitely been rough. Sometimes I can still beat a mythical with this account. Don't count yourself out, particularly because the matchmaking does kind of try to match you with people that are on winning or losing streaks based on what has been happening. So quite often you will find people that are just not building their champions particularly well that you can certainly beat. I think Live Arena is worth trying out a little bit more. And here's the thing. Live Arena in bronze and Live Arena in silver is not endgame Live Arena. It's not good Live Arena. And I realize it's frustrating when you're fighting people down there that are way overkill. Those people need to get out into gold because gold is a more appropriate match for their accounts and for their skills, and they eventually will. There are plenty of other accounts, even in gold, that are viable for an early game account to actually fight. Now, the Great Hall has generally been coming along pretty slowly. I've been kind of debating how I've been working on this. I started pushing something beyond level 6, but honestly, I probably need to just mostly push the rest of these things up to level 6 before we continue, because I am really kind of roadblocked by these missions here. I have to fuse Rosin Scarhide. I am missing a couple of Rosin Scarhide fusion champions. So until I get those champions, this is going to be a hard block for me. Now, next CVC, I'll probably do this craft 10 helmets using the Forge helmet. It's an easy one to do. I just need to throw a helmet charm in there and craft a bunch of stuff. Get 5 max substat with rank 5 or higher glyphs. Well, I've got actually several of those now because I've been fighting with Faction Wars well, so I should be able to do that. And then from there, we just kind of push forward. I did get past stage 14 Barbarians a while ago. That was a big deal. 5-starring War Maiden was actually the key for me there. And the rest of the stuff is stuff I can kind of do. I can certainly clear stage 25 of Ice Golem 10 times, upgrade affinity bonuses to level 10. That is where I get hard stopped by the things only having a couple of them at level 10. But since this Rosin one's probably going to take me another month or so, I can kind of take my time a little bit and actually spread out my affinity bonuses a bit. I think my account will overall be better for it when I have higher attack values on every champion, higher HP values on every champion, and higher defense values on every champion. Meanwhile, here in the Live Arena, Great Hall here for the area bonuses, as you can see, I have done a ton of stuff for Faction Wars. That has been very helpful in clearing Faction Wars. This 20 speed is huge, and it didn't cost an awful lot. Now, if you're not into Gold Live Arena, it's certainly going to be a bit of a struggle to get here, but we're talking 500 medals. I've got 1,500. I could bring this Ignore Defense all the way level 10 and still have some of these left over. Nice and easy. Now, unlike the other affinity bonuses here, a gold medal is not worth 2 silvers or 4 bronze, but that is because the amount you get per level increases every time in general, whereas in this particular case, you get like 1 bronze and then 2 bronze and then 1 silver and then 2 silver and then 3 silver and then eventually 4 silver, and then it goes to 2 gold, and then you start getting 3 gold and finally 4 gold and a 5 gold, I believe, if you're actually in platinum. So it is worth building out those things. The Faction Wars, again, very cheap, a lot of easy stats, and will definitely help you against things like this 40 accuracy is part of why Brogni was landing burns when I wasn't expecting him to. You might say that's a problem, but 90% of the time I want more accuracy than less, and there's very few times where I don't want the accuracy. And in the case of Brogni, you know, oh well, it is what it is. You know, extra HP, defense, great. Attack only adds to attack-based damage dealers. Not a bad one to pile up on a little bit, but honestly, HP and defense keeps people alive. Keeping people alive helps you win fights more often. Invested a little bit in Fire Knight here because I'd certainly like to speed my Fire Knights up a little bit. Speed being a very, very critical one for Fire Knight, and as I get into Fire Knight hard, this is going to become even more important. Now, I maxed a bunch of stuff out here on Spider, and honestly, some of this was a mistake. I actually thought that I was doing Faction Wars for some reason when I spent a ton of stuff here in Spider. So this was probably not the best option. But for me right now, that's going to be very helpful. And as I move into the hard dungeons, that stuff is still going to be helpful. Specifically, the speed is never going to be a bad idea because adding extra speed on any of these dungeons, super, super good. Now, there's a couple of them I haven't invested in, you can see here. Potion Keeps, not worth investing in. I can take random champions that are just kind of okay on my account, throw them in with food, and farm the Potion Keeps. So I don't need any more stats in the Potion Keeps. Ice Golem, you know, could be good if I was focused on farming Ice Golem a bit more, and as I push into hard, I might start investing in Ice Golem, but I don't really need it. So Speed is what's going to happen in Ice Golem. I am going to ignore defense, and ignore crit damage, because generally I don't want to provoke the Ice Golem to attack too often. So I'm looking for speed. Resistance and accuracy will be helpful, because eventually when you want solo champions, they need resistance to ignore the block healing that can get placed by the minions, and you're going to want the accuracy. So getting speed, resistance, and accuracy in Ice Golem is ultimately going to be some of the best investments you're going to make if you want to farm hard Ice Golem faster. Dragon's Lair is another one I have not invested in. As you can see, I have a 100% Dragons 10 hard team. And my 100% Dragon 10 hard team doesn't need any of this stuff. The stats are not super difficult. Now, if you are struggling to get some of those stats, then yeah, put some stats into these things. And unlike Ice Golem, Dragon doesn't care about taking too much damage. So getting your ignore defense, getting additional speed, getting ignore crit damage, all good ways to speed up the Dragon. Resistance, not a bad option as well, but probably not super important against the boss. And so accuracy, probably much more important. Go for that accuracy first. Doom Tower, Doom Tower is not too bad. I'm certainly struggling to get past floor 80 at the moment, but once I get past floor 80 to floor 120, this Doom Tower stuff is not going to be particularly useful. That said, if you got a bunch of these extra things and want to maybe get +6 extra speed super early on, that's not a huge investment to get yourself a couple of these early ones in Doom Tower, especially if you're struggling to get up and you think that 6 extra speed on every champion might make the difference. Keep in mind, these work for the secret rooms as well. So these extra stats for champions in your secret rooms can actually be very impactful for you to get further in those secret rooms and do some of the missions that require you to do secret rooms as well. So those are definitely an option and something you could be doing if you want to advance towards like the Ramontu quest, for example. Iron Twins, again, one that is really good to be farming. But once you can get an Iron Twins 15 team locked in, it's locked in and it's done. So these have a limited amount of upside. As much as this is something you will be running consistently, much like the Demon Lord, which we have down below, probably not the best one for you. So I would certainly skip getting a lot of stuff in Iron Twins, but again, it's not stupid expensive. So getting yourself a little extra speed, a little extra accuracy, a little less, and a little ignore damage even. The problem with ignore defense and crit damage is that the way that boss does work is they will cleanse themselves and get retaliatory attacks when they go past certain damage thresholds, much like the Ice Golem. So I would avoid ignore defense and crit damage under most circumstances. Probably just deal with speed, maybe resistance, because resistance is not bad against that boss, and accuracy would definitely be helpful because he does need more accuracy than a lot of the normal dungeon bosses. Same with Demon Lord. Once you get yourself, I'm 3-keying Demon Lord right now. I generally have not found a big reason to grab any of these things. I think on my main, I grabbed a little bit of ignore defense just to add a little bit of damage. But honestly, unless you are this close to making the chest you want to, and something like 2% or 4% ignore defense will make the difference, I think you're better off mostly ignoring these for things like Hydra, because Hydra does have much, much higher stat requirements. And so having these extra stats in Hydra will prove to be helpful in the long term of your account. Now they are expensive. In fact, you see this is a level 3, so this is actually 2,000 to get from 18 to 20. So you'll see I've kind of stopped at 19. I'll probably instead go here and grab one of these maybe a little bit, or maybe even grab a little extra accuracy just to get myself a little more accuracy. Have some extra HP and defense, keeps everyone alive. The extra attack can add some damage. But good things to invest in here. Sand Devil and Phantom Shogun, another one that can be difficult to deal with, particularly if you are doing a tuned Phantom Shogun team. I'm not a big fan of having the speed here because it's very easy to forget that you have this speed here and mistune your entire team and have to rebuild 5 champions. Same with Demon Lord. That's why I don't like speed in Demon Lord necessarily. That said, if you're struggling to get these things and some of these things get you the team that you really, really want, then go for it. And to be fair, if you're working on a speed team and you're just a little bit of damage short, going with ignore defense for 1 or 2 levels of this could be enough to finish your speed team and make it effervescent and constantly running. So that's great. Finally, Cursed City has got some great rewards, resets itself, and unlike Doom Tower, there's definitive challenges on both levels of Cursed City that require some pretty ridiculous stats. And even the ones that don't require ridiculous stats, since you constantly are juggling so many champions through Cursed City, having these extra stats in Cursed City can be nothing but a boon to your account. So I think that these are actually well worth investing in, but these are more endgame level versus Hydra, which can help you early on when you're in Hydra, and of course later on when you're struggling to get to Nightmare and try to do as much damage as possible against Nightmare. Hydra is pretty much gonna be universal. Spider, once you're done with it, you're done with it, so it's not the best investment, but it's not too bad. Fire Knight is such an important dungeon that a little bit of investment in Fire Knight I think is still wise. And Faction Wars, now with Faction Wars Hard, has become a, constant evergreen source of stats that you will need daily. So I think Faction Wars is honestly something that is worth investing in heavily, even for an early game account, because the earlier you can push up further in Faction Wars, the better your account will be overall. So finally, just talking about a few of the champions I need to invest in here. This is the stuff that I've got in my main vault as well as in my current setup for building champions. And, I've got a couple champions here that I'm enjoying. Ishiyama has actually been hitting harder than I expected. You can see my Ishiyama build here. It's not absolutely amazing, but he is only 5 stars. He's got a single star blessing as well. That gives him a ton of extra HP, by the way. But even then, he'll get another, 25%, 50% more HP just from the base stats when I make him a 6-star. So he's going to get up to 70, 75k HP, which is going to make him hit that much harder. Plus I'll get a little more crit damage because I believe he gets a 63% crit damage, which will help a ton. And, eventually I might be able to build him a little bit better where I don't have this much extra crit rate. I am kind of in a crossroads with my account where I am struggling to get people into crit damage gloves, as it were, and I'm still using crit rate gloves. But given how many champions I have in Savage right now in crit rate gloves, it still pays off for this account. So he's been helpful. He's a champion I would not mind 6-starring eventually, but he's not on the immediate radar. Skaramis, I think, will eventually become a 6-star just because I think I've been using him for my second provoker in Hydra, and I need more provokers in Hydra, so he is certainly going to prove to be somebody useful in there. Bellower is definitely a champion I'm going to be investing in heavily because he has a 6-star champion. He will be very good as well. And honestly, he's a really fast campaign farmer, so maybe he'll move into my campaign farm as well with this build, assuming this build can one-shot the waves, which I think it should be able to. And if that's faster than Alice, that'll save me a little bit of time running campaign because I am running a ton of campaign on this account. Meat Carver is another champion I do need to invest a little bit more in. He might become a 6-star. I have been working on booking him. It looks like he's booked as well as I need him to be, so that's good. He is a healer and reviver for the Skinwalkers. And yeah, he's a little squishy, so I might actually need to make him a 6-star, or maybe I just need to 6-star or 16 this chest to help him a little bit, stay alive just a little bit longer. But, we're working on some stuff, and he has been very, very helpful overall. I think he has been, I don't have a Hoffreeze, and without having a Hoffreeze, I think that has been a bit of a barrier, but honestly, I think I like this dude just a little bit more because he's got this continuous heal. It's only, unfortunately, a 1 turn. I wish this was a 2 turn, but is a continuous heal on all allies, which is definitely helpful. I've got the additional Nourish, which adds additional healing right there. He does a little bit of healing on the A1 for himself, and he's got an okay revive on a 4-turn cooldown. Not absolutely amazing, but, he gets the extra continuous heal out there, especially against Skinwalker factions, so that can be very helpful as well. Got a decent amount of bonus healing, and, that's kind of nice. So it's been, a struggle for me to get him through, but we're working on it. Gear Grinder has been very helpful. Maybe I need to 6-star him to get Ogren faction, but that's otherwise been fine. As I mentioned, champions I probably need to 5-star. Korgon has actually been very good. I think I underestimated how good this heal and shield is. Plus, these are not bad as well. Honestly, this is a few epic books. Maybe he's worth booking as well. He's not great, but given I've needed help with healing and keeping people alive in the Lizard faction, and he does that very well, he's been worth some level of investment in, so he'll at least be at least a level 50. I think that will be helpful. He's also good for a secret room, so getting him to level 50-star, or whatever, will be very, very helpful overall for him. Tashada has been helpful, but honestly, I think I've started stealing some of her. I didn't steal her gear yet. Okay. I thought about stealing some of her gear for Syl or for Brogni because she's got a bolster set here, but it's not a good bolster set. And honestly, once I get Syl in play, Tashada will probably not remain in my teams. And if she is, then I need to invest and get her to 5-star at very least. Surin's been kind of decent. In Shadowkin, she is way too squishy at 4-star. Need to get her to 5-star. Zargala, way too squishy at 4-star. Need to get her to 5. 5-star. Broodlord's been kind of helpful with the AoE stun, so I need to get him to 5-star. And of course, I've got Allure here, who I think will be very, very helpful for Fire Knight, as well as for the Demon Spawn, so I'd like to eventually get her to 5-star and 6-star. I do have a little bit of time because Doom Tower is going to end soon, and we're going to go to rotation 2. I want her 6-starred before we get into rotation 3, because versus the Dark Fae, I think she will be the key for me keeping that team from needing to worry about the Dark Fae spawning one of my champions and having them kill me easily. So Allure is a priority, but she is a long-term priority. I've got about a month to be really worried about her. And then finally, Suwai Firstborn is an okay AoE nuker. Now, I've been using Aina in Barbarians, and she does a decent amount of single target damage. She's not Whisper level, but she's not bad. But this gives me not only a single target weaken, but gives me an AoE decrease attack. Very, very good. And honestly, if I don't have to build her for this accuracy, then that's fine as well. But she gets decreased defense on the A1 as well. She hits really, really hard. I don't need to book her. With Syl carrying on the healing front, adding some extra damage could be very helpful. So getting Suwai Firstborn built to 5-star, I think might help me with the faction if I don't have it done already. So there are some of the things I am focusing on, some of the things that I am hopeful on increasing with the free-to-play. If you want anything that you want more details on, certainly let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing from you guys. I have heard feedback from several people that they kind of like to pace themselves against my free-to-play account, whether they are spending or not spending. And I also have heard some encouragements here that me constantly pushing to move forward with this free-to-play account is reminding other people that they need to push forward in their own accounts as well. Sometimes it is really easy to get complacent, and in fact I've gotten complacent on this account during small stretches where not a lot changed, where I wasn't busy trying to change gear up, trying to level up specific champions for specific content. And it was more about general content. And in many cases, that was kind of the Faction Wars scramble. That was the get every Faction Wars to level 14 scramble. And now that I'm on the home stretch of getting Lydia, it is definitely very targeted champions that I think will work in Faction Wars that might also give me utility somewhere else. And so that's what I've been dealing with, and that's been kind of fun because with the limited amount of resources I have on this account, it's been kind of fun playing with champions that I probably would have never touched on my main because I haven't needed to in years. So, hey, let me know down below what you think of all this stuff. Again, I would love to hear how your account progress is going. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. You guys are an absolutely amazing community. I love you all. You are amazing. Have a wonderful day. And until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.